Let's talk about the RTX 5090 and all the hype around it. Here's the truth. It's mostly marketing. You don't need to spend $2,000 on a new GPU that won't make much difference for most people, especially if you already have an RTX 4090, 4080, or even something older but reasonably recent. Stick with me, and I'll show you why upgrading to the 50 series won't improve your daily experience and why this hype train is just a clever sales tactic. Let's start with the RTX 4090. A card that's just already way ahead of what most people need. It's got 16,384 CUDA cores, 24 gigs of GDDR, 6x memory, and a $1,600 price tag. This thing is already an absolute beast for 4K gaming, which is not used much anyway. It's great for general content creation or any heavy task you throw at it. The 4090 doesn't just handle today's most demanding games, it dominates them. We're talking ultra settings, ray tracing, and frame rates that make gaming super smooth. Here's the thing. If you already have a 4090 or even a 4080, what exactly are you upgrading for? Speaking of the 4080, this $1,200 card is no slouch. With 9,728 CUDA cores and 16 GB of fast memory, it's more than enough for 4K gaming, which most of you don't use anyway. It's great for creative workloads and future-proofing. The 4080 handles nearly everything the 4090 can do, just at a slightly lower cost. I mean, just look at this. In many games, the 4080 performs so close to the 4090 that you probably wouldn't even notice the difference while playing. And here's the kicker, gamers. If you're already running games smoothly on an older 1080 or 2K card at high frames on high resolution, the upgrade to a 4080 or 4090 is already a luxury anyway if you're happy with your current performance. Most of this fear of missing out is just marketing. Companies like NVIDIA are experts at creating hype and insecurity. They make you feel like you absolutely need the latest card to keep up, or you're going to be so behind. But the reality is that the RTX 50 series won't change your daily experience, especially if you're already gaming on a 4080 or 4090, or even older RTX cards. Let's prove it. On an RTX 3060 or 3070, you're already getting great performance for 1080p and even 1440p. If your games run smoothly now, upgrading won't suddenly make them feel better if they're already running well. These new cards are marketed as essential, but for most use cases, they're overkill. There are happy gamers and game reviewers out here still running 2080 Ti's in 2024. And it is okay if they're happy with the performance. Take a look at this data for you numbers people. Most of you out there still return to 1080p gaming anyway, because it's matured enough to give you stable, high frame rates on most games. The major concern at 1080 is frame rate and detail, and if those are high enough, most gamers are still comfortably happy to play at 1080. I've also talked to reviewers and enthusiast gamers who were blown away by 4K gaming, but they went back to 1080 simply because of the screen size. Yes, some guys felt like the much larger 4K monitors had them turning their heads way too much to see the details on the sides and corners. This doesn't bother everyone, of course, but that 24-inch high refresh rate 1080p screen seems to be a sweet spot for many gamers for long-term stable gaming, if the resolution and frame rates were high enough. The larger point here is this. Even if your system is just too sluggish and you genuinely need an upgrade, it doesn't have to be a 50 series. You don't really need it. And by the way, if you want to dive into the world of GPUs, we have expertly curated books and courses in the description. Whether you're just starting out or looking to deepen your understanding, these resources are packed with practical knowledge to help you harness the power of modern GPUs. From beginner-friendly courses that break down complex concepts to in-depth books covering everything from GPU-related programming to performance optimization, you'll have all the tools you need to become a true GPU master. Have a look around in the description when you get a chance. These recommendations will be updated as frequently as necessary. Let's get on with the video. So, what's all the hype about the RTX 5090? Well, it's rumored to have 21,760 CUDA cores, 32 gigs of GDDR7 memory, and a power draw of 600 watts. Impressive on paper, right? But let's be real. What does this mean for your actual experience? Unless you're chasing benchmarks or running super specific workloads, that extra power won't translate into a noticeable difference for gaming, general productivity, or everyday tasks. Oh, and by the way, it's expected to cost $1,900 to $2,000. That's a huge price to pay for numbers on a spec sheet you will never actually utilize in real usage. Here's something to think about. The RTX 4090 and 4080 are already so powerful that most games aren't even taking full advantage of them. With features like DLSS 3, these GPUs use AI to boost frame rates and make games look amazing without needing brute force. And guess what? Even older GPUs like the RTX 3060 and 3070 still handle most modern games just fine at 1080p or 1440p. If you already own a 4060, 4070, 4080, these GPUs are already ahead of the curve. Take a look at this. Why would you spend $2,000 on a 50 series card you'll never maximize when this fully built $1,200 MSI desktop comes with a 2024 10-core Intel i5 processor and an RTX 4060 Ti? It can power through current demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Call of Duty Warzone, and Fortnite, delivering smooth gameplay at 1080p and 1440p with 120 plus FPS. It comes with 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD for fast load times, seamless multitasking, and enough room for your stuff. For $1,200, you have enough power here for today's games and near future releases. Just pair this thing with a proven great monitor like this 240 Hz LG one, and you'll have a fantastic time. Do you really, truly, honestly need to play at 1000 FPS at 10K resolution at this point in your life? Do you really need any of that, even if you have the money? And even if you got the 50 series, will you upgrade again if a 60 series comes out the next year? And then again, if the 70 series comes out 2 years after that? Let's be real, gamers. Unless you're a hardcore tech enthusiast who must chase every single frame and have the absolute latest of everything every single time, there's no real reason to jump on this upgrade bandwagon. Before you fall for this hype, ask yourself, even if you have a really old GPU and seriously need an upgrade, do you really need a 50 series upgrade? Do you need so much power you will never truly utilize? Save your money, guys. Enjoy the gear you already have until it maxes out, or upgrade to what you actually need and are likely to utilize to the max for every dollar. A time will come when the 50 series will become a requirement, but it is definitely not 2025 or even 2026. This is a future card that you don't need to worry about right now. Links are in the description if you want to check out any of the stuff you've seen here, including the 5090. If you liked this almost rant, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.